Good afternoon.
Start now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can we start?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So, good afternoon, Ms. Nandya. Had your lunch?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Right. With more discussion of rather than session. So, we are going to discuss on MBA 005, that is Indian diaspora, socio-political and policy aspects. How
Yes, sir.
takes into consideration of the Indian diaspora community, that means people live across the world, and how far they are changing the policy and socio and geopolitics and everything, how they as a government approach the diaspora, how peacefully they are bringing into the government ecosystem for the diaspora. That's what our discussion is. So the block one, that is deals on politics and policies of foreign policy and assets. So when they are looking into diaspora community, they have to look into two areas, that is foreign policy as well as national security. Of course,
Yes.
as a government, they need to look into this because the government always takes into consideration the money flow, right? How the money flow from the foreign nationals for what purpose is being used. That is why the national security is very, very important. It doesn't happen. They immediately check on the flow of amount, right? Whether it is a
Yes.
security related to war or security related to financial disturbance or the security related to in terms of all those things, a huge amount of money is being involved in it, right? So the government is very much keen on the national security aspects. So in this block one, we are going to learn about the India's diaspora policy in pre-independence period, as we are discussing on that areas, and describes India's post-independence shift in diaspora policies and understand Indian diaspora's economic, cultural, and political engagement. So that are the various areas that we are going to discuss along with it and comprehend very slow, right? So this is
Yes,
what
sir.
we are going to discuss now. Uh, Diaspora policy. Okay. When we look into the diaspora policy, that is Indian National Congress, that is the initial policies and before independence, have Indian National Congress, which works, fight and organize the people for the freedom. And Gandhian view Gandhiji's effort in South Africa,
Yes, sir.
uh, the achievements of Indian National Congress and post-independence diaspora policy, or that we are going to look into. Right? So that areas that we are going to do, and when we look into the Indian National Congress aspect, right, and what they have done initially for the for how they are linked to the Indian initial policies and attempts, persistent effort to alleviate the suffering of overseas slaves. That is the main thing. Because during the British period, the people are forced to migrate from the homeland, and they were in South Africa, and they were in wherever the British were ruling. Okay, so
Yes.
because of that, the International Congress made an effort and fight for to alleviate the sufferings of the overseas labor. Why you are taking our country people and sending them and all those things. So the in the Indian National Congress, that is INC, pressured the colonial government to act against the exploitation of the labor and uphold their rights. So when these people are sent to other countries, the problem is, can you, Navya, can you say what type of exploitation they may undergo? Have you give any glimpse of that? The exploitation they might have, or you might have read anything regarding the exploitation of the Indian laborers in overseas during the British period?
Yes, sir. They were hired as slaves, and they were um, um, they were shipped to different countries for slavery, as well as our soldiers. There was a clause added to the people who were added in their army, so they had to go overseas and do the service for different countries, and even in India as well. The people had to go against their own people just because there were clauses added in the documentation. So yes, sir, that is there, and then even they were not given their basic human rights. For example, even living conditions were not good. They were not given enough food, not even resources. So yes,
Exactly.
that is
Exactly.
it.
So you have almost covered everything. So this scenario made the INC, that is Indian National Congress, to fight for their rights, right? So
Yes, sir.
Congress leaders began demanding even the racial equality and appealed to the government in Britain as well as to specific governments in the colonies to look into the problems of the overseas Indians.
Yes, sir.
Somehow they able to pressure the British government. So the colonial government they tried to bring reform by bringing policies, right? And they
Yes,
also
sir.
formed commissions to inquire the status of these workers and provide suggestion to ease their problem. The
Yes, sir.
the immigrant workers may be allotted land and allowed to work free as a free man after their period of indenture was over, right? So
Yes,
what
sir.
happens when you say indenture? As you have rightly said, they were lived like a slave. But the reason, so after 3 years they work, for example, that is a 3 year indenture, that is means 3 years contract. They were even after that they were made as a slave and they were taken in their control. So, but after this kind of pressure from the INC, that is Indian National Congress, the colonial government has made a little effort to bring commissioners, the commission to look into their cases and provide suggestions to sort out their problems. That is first one, and the
Yes, sir.
second, due to that, they have free after the contract period. They must be sent to the home. Okay, but it was only in papers. That's what's the scenario. But anyhow, the INC has INC was able to pressure the government. That's understanding that we need to take it.
Yes.
Yes, Gandhi's efforts in South Africa. So there, our history clearly says that the thought of fighting for the freedom was established in Mahatma Gandhi after he was uh, in South Africa, especially the Indian people, as well as the people, the racism over there.
Yes, sir.
So Gandhi began being an overseas Indian himself. He is an overseas Indian because he's in South Africa. Showed a keen interest in the affairs of the diaspora. First, Gandhi was he struggled for the cause of the Indian residings, and there are various things that has gone. And Gandhi and his companions faced many hardships during their struggle, and they were able to they so the South African government cited the agreement stating that Indians would be repatriated to their homeland. That means they must be sent back to their homeland after Mahatma Gandhi's fight over there. So this meant that Indians would be back to India without their will. and which again was a kind of a rights and lawful settlement. Okay, so they were bringing the lawful settlement of Indian nationals to their countries, right? And
Yes,
when
sir.
you see the concept of the achievements of INC, so it has brought various law, right? They were able
Yes,
to
sir.
bring various laws related to alleviating the problems, the sufferings of uh, migrant, the diaspora community. The first one is All Indian Congress Committee was formed in 1929, right? And
Yes, sir.
Indian National Congress sent a number of missions to countries like Fiji, Malaya and South Africa to pressurize the colonial government act in favor of the immigrants. So that was the first thing. So they were able to send the Indian National Congress members to the various countries, right?
Yes, sir.
And the Indian colonial government, on the other hand, did not make any practical and substantial efforts to emancipate the workers. So the South African government has harsh rules like they brought various act in order to pressurize the people, like Becking Act of 1943 against the overseas Indians. For instance, the Indian government did not oppose the rules. But so what is Becking Act? That is PEGGING, Becking Act. It is, according to Peking Act, purchase of lands by Indians in the countries was restricted. They cannot buy a land in their countries. So this act is
Okay.
restricting the Indians and not allowing the Indians to buy the land over there. So you look at the scenario, then they cannot be a citizen of this country, and
Yes,
they
sir.
cannot buy the land, they cannot improve their economical conditions. So this was considered by Indian nationals to grave atrocity against the overseas Indians. So this brought INCs to work little harder to to alleviate this type of problem that is happening against the people. So
Yes, sir.
INC started incorporating the freedom struggle and demand for emancipation of the overseas Indians. So the achievement of India's independence was considered as an important prerequisite, right? So this made the Indians to fight against. First, let us throw the British people out of our country. So that's what they were very strong in. So in this regard, Indian diaspora, developed countries such as in the US, started supporting Indian independence struggle, right? So that the
Yes,
countries
sir.
like US, at the same time where a lot of Indians were there, were able to support the Indian people. So this is the achievement of INC. And what is the post-independence diaspora policy, right? So
Yes, sir.
post-independence, Prime Minister, first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru has
Yes,
brought a
sir.
lot of foreign policies to have a good Indian diaspora, the bring better policies to ensure that the diaspora people are having a good relationship with the country,
Yes,
and
sir.
they also live peacefully in the hosting countries. So in post-independence, India was building a self-sufficient country and to develop a strong foreign policies and with the principles of anti-imperialism, non-alignment, sovereignty, and secularism. So these are the preambles, or these are the very, very Nehru's view that uh, we need to keep the road safe for all the people as well as Indian diaspora community. So this suggests that
Yes, sir.
policy shift from pre-independence period to post-independence period. And Nehru considered diaspora as a subject of the country, of their settlement, and stated that immigrants who desire to live in the host country should consider themselves as a nationals. Right? So
Yes, sir.
he has a strong belief that they are not people who are out of our country, but even though they are out of our country, they are our people. And so Nehru has a view, when you see the history, Gandhi's view is mostly on building the villages,
Yes.
bringing decentralization government. So if you see Gandhi's views, always it is on a kind of building a better society or village development, or it is like that. But if you look at Nehru's view of building our country, it is based on industrialization. So that if you
Yes.
see first 10 years of his rule, lot of industries, lot of development in the infrastructure he has brought, which was slightly against the Gandhi's views, right? So he is a person of integrating the system and bringing the industry. So that after 5 years plan, we more move to panchayat institutions, building the villages and everything. The first 10 years when he was ruling, it is most on the industrial perspectives, right? So
Yes, sir.
based on that, he also worked for the diasporas, and he made them to ties with their families and back home, encourage to, but not encourage, take part in economic, political development of India. That is main thing. So they can come home, they can live and whatever they do, but taking part in political development of India is somewhat restricted. So India
Yes.
did show moral concern towards its diaspora and maintained that those Indians who have contributed in building foreign lands and have become a permanent resident of that land must be treated equally with the local people. That's also India's stand. So if they have done tremendous work in the host countries, they must be treated well, and they must be as a homeland, as a India, we should be proud of it and take their ideas and all those things in our nation building. That's what his uh, thought is all about. So post-independent period has brought a lot of policies and a lot of programs in the early period itself. If you see in
Yes, sir.
1970s, there are a lot of diaspora community when they demanded to take part in the elections of India. So this was rejected by the Indian government in 1970s. If you see in the history, certain voices were raised from the diaspora community when they demanded to take part in the election of India. It is not only voting but also stand for in the election and all those things. So this was rejected by the Indian government in 1978. The Indian diaspora in the Gulf demanded representation in the Punjab and Kerala states assemblies and overseas Indian seats in parliament. But this was not considered in 1980s. Okay, again it was not considered. So now they are
Yes,
moving
sir.
1978. The Punjab Kerala state assemblies, they want some representation like Rajya Sabha. So these demands were made perhaps due to the fact that diasporas were exploited in the host countries. Therefore, they wanted to have security and protection at least by the Indian government. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So why they need that? Because in the Gulf countries, they cannot claim for the citizenship. So they now seeking the Indian government, the home countries to please give us some representation in election and all this, but it was rejected. So Indian diaspora formed several organizations based on ethnicity, culture, and religions, and they also formed pan-India organizations that go beyond their ethnic and culture. So these
Yes.
are the areas when we look into the Indian National from the Indian National Congress, so that is initial policies and attempts to since setting the policies since 1970s, there are a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
roadmaps that is given.
So I would like to add a point to post-independence diaspora policy.
Yeah.
I had this I watched this मतलब
Mm.
documentary where I saw that Abdul Kalam was very much influenced by Jawaharlal Nehru to take very bold actions in rocket science and defense industry immediately after independence. Although we were agrarian society and it wasn't possible to allocate so many funds to such technology and subsectors. But since Jawaharlal Nehru was very keen about advancements and technology, he made it a motto that we would work on these things, and it increased our bilateral relations at that point in time, and that was included in our foreign policy. So, yeah. That is my point.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. So Jawaharlal Nehru's, when you see his diplomacy is to bring lot of institutions like educational institution, IITs, his
Yes, sir.
contributions, and during Dr. Manmohan Singh's period, he has brought a lot of central universities to build
Yes, sir.
upon, and this are the institution builders, and they understood the demography of the India, and
Yes, sir.
so there is no kind of a force anywhere, but they built the country in a from the see, after independence, we are all scattered, and he
Yes, sir.
brought the India as a system, as a growing nations in the world. And
Yes,
you
sir.
see that even during the 1988, the BJP government also took several steps to involve diaspora community as well as the culturally. The importance of diaspora in India increased, and we see it seen, and they have brought a lot of laws in order to bring the diaspora communities into the one roof. For example,
Yes, sir.
NRI's concept and persons in overseas then, and they constitute part of the great Indian family, right? So
Yes,
some
sir.
slogans were made, and they were also done some contribution to bring the diaspora people, and they also brought the
Yes, sir.
India were kind of during the Kargil War, 1999, diaspora
Yes,
lobbied the US Congress to pressurize Pakistan to cease violations. You see,
yes,
in 1999, when there is a Kargil War, the US, they were able to pressurize the diaspora peoples of the US were able to pressurize the US Congress, that means US government, uh, to pressurize the Pakistan to cease violations. So this is the
yes, sir.
strength of the diaspora community, right? So
Yes,
here
sir.
there are a lot of evidences where you see that the diaspora plays a vital role, and the government through the policy is strengthening the diaspora community and make them to feel that they are the government and in India is for them. This very
Yes, sir.
important aspect that we have seen in the various stages of our country, right, from
Yes, sir.
pre-independence. Yeah. So the impact of politics on immigration and immigration. So we have a World Trade Organization or international and international migration, and we have Bhumiputra policy in Malaysia, and we
Yes,
have
sir.
formation of Indian diaspora in Malaysia, and we have affirmative action for native Malay majority in Malaysia, and this or the things that is impact of politics on immigration and immigration, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
here, when you talk about the Malaysia, that is the first the few areas of Unit 45, especially talks about the Malaysian government. Why we are talking about the Malaysia? Because there are a lot of people during the colonial period were shifted to Malaysia, and Malaysia is the country where they welcomed, as well as through various laws and policies, the Indian people were treated as a kind of the second citizens of that country. So,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So, first, when you look into the World Trade Organization, it is it is not only a global trade body governing trade relations among the member countries, it also regulates and manages by lifting the trade barriers in services, including migration. Okay, so when you want to migrate for trade, then it is you have to go through the World Trade Organization. It's not only taking into trade, but also it's looking to the migration of the people for the purpose. So that
Yes,
there
sir.
is a GATS agreement that is called General Agreement on Trade in Services. So that liberalizes not only trade in goods but also trade in services through four models. What is the difference between goods and services?
So, goods are tangible products, whereas
Very
services are
good.
intangible
Okay, very
services.
good. Like if you are going to a lawyer, then he
Yes,
gives
sir.
a service, then it's
Yes, sir.
intangible, right? Or
Yes, sir.
what I am doing right now, the teaching and everything. Goods
Yes,
what
sir.
is tangible.
Service.
So
Yes, sir.
so that the fourth kind of the trade that can be acknowledged by uh, that allowed by the general agreement on trade in services. The first one is mode one, that is a cross-border supply.
Yes,
Of
sir.
how you are going to supply in the cross-border, right? How you are going to cross the border and how what need to be supplied and how it should be supplied. So
Yes,
second
sir.
one is cross-border consumption. And third one is establishment of commercial presence. And the fourth one is presence of natural trade organization member states. So the mode four, that is, so talks about the presence of natural persons. As a person, you are going, right? So mode four
Yes,
is
sir.
related to the movement of natural persons for the purpose of providing service across member states. Very, very important because all the three mode, that is mode one, cross-border supply, cross-border consumption, and the establishment of commercial presence, that is mode three, it is all speaks about the goods. But the fourth mode, that is a presence of natural organization member states, speaks about the services that I am doing. So if you
Yes,
see
sir.
yesterday in the newspaper, Canada, I think I have seen in LinkedIn, or I think it's in Canada. I have seen in the Indian newspaper.
Okay.
They have what is it? The layoff is given. There is a layoff for Indian professionals because there is a shrink in Indian. So that they reduced the number of employees in the teaching in Canada.
Okay.
You know why?
Okay.
Because of lot of things is going on US.
Yes, sir.
Even yesterday, you watched the news that uh, has removed almost 1,350 employees from the government job. Imagine. From
Yes,
within
sir.
with the sign, he has removed almost 1,350. So Canada is a nearby state. So it brings pressure. And nowadays you find that the statistics says that there are times when people move highly for higher education to US, Canada, and UK. Now
Yes,
they
sir.
are all going for some other like China, Singapore, and these countries for the education. So that if there is a decline because of
Yes,
some
sir.
political pressure or some political situation that is taking place across those states. So
Yes,
when the
sir.
natural persons maybe service or employee of the service supplier, the mode 4 is about the temporary movement of natural persons across to WTO member states. There is a temporary movement, right?
Yes, sir.
So this GATS is, that is a General Agreement Trade Service, plays a very crucial role, right, for taking into how these people should move to those countries,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Person seeking access to the labor market for the host country or not, you cover some measures regarding citizenship, residence, or employment on a permanent basis. This plays a role because you are, even if you are going to provide service, you are going to do a trade over there, right? So
Yes,
what
sir.
is the conditions, right? So what should be your English proficiency? What knowledge you
Yes,
should
sir.
have, right? You see, if you want to go to Canada, you have to give all your degree certificates well and ahead to World Education Service or some other organization which authenticate your uh, what to say, authenticate your education. right?
Yes, sir.
If you are done PhD, they consider in Canada it's a earned PhD. If you do masters, they will consider as a postgraduate diploma, right? So they will accredit your educational qualification based on their uh, educational qualification. So you cannot
Yes,
claim
sir.
doing masters here, you cannot claim that is a master over there. They will consider as a postgraduate diploma. If you
Yes, sir.
if you do MPhil, then they will consider as a master's. Because the trade organization clearly says what has to be done in terms of all those things,
Yes, sir.
right? So this is what the trade organization concerns, and you have the Bhumi Putra policy in Malaysia. So it is a when you say Bhumi Putra is the term. I think it's a Sanskrit term. I hope so. Bhumi means land.
Yes,
Bhumi
sir.
Putra. Okay, so it is related to some land or ethnicity related. So Malaysia is a multicultural, multi-racial country located in
Yes,
Southeast
sir.
Asian regions of the world. So if you, I have visited Malaysia, as I said in my last class, you find people of Chinese, people from Tamil Nadu, especially from India, and you find own Malaya people, and you
Yes,
have a
sir.
lot of racism over there, and a lot of things. The segregation and everything will go, and based on uh, the community we belong to, then they will try to segregate, and racism is there in Malaya, right? So Malaysia consists of three major ethnic groups, namely native Malayas, also known as Bhumiputras. That means
Okay.
Bhumiputra means the son of the soil. That's what the
Yes,
term
sir.
denotes, Bhumiputra. Okay, and the immigrant communities such as Chinese and the Indians. So these are the major. So Indian ethnic community is the third major ethnic community, consisting of almost 7.7 or 8 percentage in their 28 million Malaysian population. Okay, so
Okay.
smaller than the Chinese and Malaysia, who are major ethnic groups. You find that the Chinese play a role, and they will be the ruling the state. So among the Indians, if you see, Tamils, Malayalis, Telugu, Sikhs, Gujaratis, and others are the major Indian ethnic. So in that, Tamils form approximately 80 percentage of the total Indian population, right? So
Yes,
given
sir.
the numerical majority of the Tamils among the Indian ethnicity, Tamilness is being asserted in the realm of culture, religion, and political representation in Malaysia. Okay, they are
Yes,
give political representation and everything. So there is a Bhumi Putra policy in Malaysia. That means what? The people of the Malaysian origin will be given representation in everything, right?
yes, sir.
Others will be taken as the second or third citizens of that country. Okay. So the
Yes,
formation of Indian diaspora in Malaysia, that is very, very important. So South Indian labor was also considered most satisfactory type of labor because of their work culture, body build, and everything. And here in Indian settlement was established due to the mass influx of Indian laborers on the British imperialism. So people moved from here, either from Tamil Nadu or Kerala and this belt, because of the British imperialism, and the people are forced to go to Malaysia. Rubber, the rubber estate is famous there, right?
yes, sir.
So they were all forced to, right, for a cheap labor. Okay, so we have seen I think in yesterday's class I used the term Kangani system, Kangani
Yes, sir.
system, right? This means there will be a
It's a
middleman,
mediator.
mediator or middleman or overseer, right?
Yes, sir.
Who will take care of this trade? Okay. So the
Yes, sir.
laborers were imported not only for plantation works, but also for building roads, railways, and ports and everything. So if you go to Malaysia, all were constructed made by the Indian people, right? So So they all unskilled workers, the immigrants and other skilled professionals, unskilled people and traders also immigrated voluntarily in large number to take job in colonial economy of Malaysia. I still remember when I was a child, people are they will go to Malaysia and when they come back they are respected. And we used to tell that it's a Malaysia family because I am from Tamil Nadu, right? So
Yes, sir.
even my in my in-laws house, that except my father-in-law, his brothers and his uncle, paternal uncle, all are settled in Malaysia. He's the only one is here. All are settled in Malaysia because in 90s itself, 1960 itself, they were gone there, right? So they settled, and I went along with my in-laws there because to see them, but they speak good Tamil and they live and they are they are expressing that they are all considered as a second-class citizens and all the government jobs priorities is given to Chinese and then only the Indian people. So the
Yes, sir.
colonialism was high and they were all in the state of rubber. And during that time, if you imagine 1960s or 1970s, in those times, here the system is getting a job in India is very difficult and a lot of casteism here. And
Yes, sir.
people moved from here there to feel that they have a work. There is no kind of any kind of racism at that point of time. So they were all put into hard work and a kind of construction and all those things, and they build the Malaysia with Indian migrants, right?
Yes, sir.
So the second is the kind of affirmative actions for native Malaysian majority in Malaysia. So here they brought a lot of things after 1957 when in 1957 the Malaysia got independence the 31st August, right? So
Yes,
there
sir.
are political parties as like in India they have a lot of political parties like United Malaya National Organization, Malaysian Chinese Association, you see, and Chinese and Malaysian Indian Congress, and all
Yes,
those
sir.
things has been brought, and a lot of things were going on after 1957 since they got independence. And the special provision of the constitution for the majority of Malaya has been conventionally manipulated, and they brought a lot of laws uh, to safeguard themselves from the other people, and they gave uh, kind of a kind of Bhumiputra policy on immigrants and ethnic minorities in Malaysia. So in a nutshell, if you want to say that the government after independence which were formed
Yes,
in Malaysia were all working and promoting the native Malaysians through lot of laws, and less importance are given to political and economical participation for the Indian people who migrated from there from here to there, right?
yes,
So
sir.
this was the a situation when you say about the remigration of Bhumipitra policy and immigrants on ethnic minorities in Malaysia. They were all suppressed and they were not happy of those government policies. And this is the situation in when we look into the Malaysian government or Malaysian people of India in Malaysia. Right.
Yes, sir.
So, anything you want to add?
Um, no, sir. I didn't know much about Malaysia, so
Okay,
um,
okay. It's good country if you can go and visit, but beautiful roads and everything.
yes, sir.
Uh, the system is good, but the racism is high. That's what I
Okay.
have observed for 7 days. All right.
Yes, sir.
So when you look into the Gulf countries, right? So that is another scenario. Uh, the main issue in Gulf countries is the citizenship issue in the Gulf.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the Gulf states have a long trade and cultural relationship with India, right? So India has a rich trade experience on the Gulf states. We have discussed in the morning also. So
Yes, sir.
the Gulf states are significant for India in terms of employment, crude oil, gas, and petroleum. Right? The
Yes, sir.
first wave of Indian migration started when there was an expansion of investment in oil industry. Right? So when
Yes.
when this uh, Arab countries found that there is a lot of oil in the oil is there in their country, that is in the mid of 19th century. That is a starting place where Indians becomes the main source for the Arab countries to work,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So in the mid 19th century, Indian migrants were substantially found in large numbers in United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, and Kuwait and Bahrain or somewhere, right?
Yes, sir.
Once this is found and people are migrating heavily from here to there. So India is one of the main source countries of South Africa, South Asia for meeting the shortage of workforce in Gulf states, right? And
Yes, sir.
I think if we are, it's a good country, South Africa. We should know before going there their laws and everything. But one of my friends is working over there, and he say that so the country by discipline, country by law, and country by everything is fine in terms of working, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
bit of we should know the law and everything. So the when you look into the migration status, the majority of the migrant workers, you can guess from where? From
Sir, sorry, I didn't listen, sir. Can you
the
repeat?
majority of the migrant workers from where? Which part of India? Which state of India? Can you guess it?
Sir, my guess would be the central part of India, I guess Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, etc.
Okay, okay. Bihar is there, but it's not much. It's from Kerala. You
Okay,
find a lot of people migrating there, Gulf countries, uh, and from Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh,
okay,
Maharashtra, as you have said, Bihar, Gujarat, Punjab, right? So the
okay,
majority of the Indians you are employed in private sector. Some of
okay,
the
okay, okay.
white collar workers are working in government offices or public sector companies, right?
Yes, sir.
So they are suggest they are engaged in gold, electronics, motor separate parts, textiles. So these are the thing people work in the various areas. So as estimated in 2018, that is by the World Migration Report,
Yes, sir.
almost 78.6, that almost 80 USD billion dollars we received as a remittance from these countries.
Yes,
Almost
sir.
$80 billion, right? So the Indian migrant from Gulf states remits about 50 to 60% of the total remittance received by India. Almost
Okay.
total remittance, 60% comes from the Gulf
Gulf
countries.
countries.
Yeah, Gulf countries, 60%. So imagine how much people are slaughtered in Gulf countries. And we also look into the salary, right? If
Yes,
it's
sir.
$78.6 billion, what would be the silver salary? How much they can save there? This also a matter.
Yes, sir.
So Indian migrants are the impossible citizens of the Gulf states, as the Gulf states do not normally provide naturalization and permanent residency or citizenship to the Indians or any foreign nationals. Right?
Yes,
They
sir.
will not provide. Gulf countries will not provide residency or citizenship
Yes, sir.
to people from other countries except their people. Right? That is the
Yes, sir.
only limitations. And the
Yes.
Indian migrants working in the Gulf states are temporary contract workers, employees who return home and on termination or completion of their work contract. So as I have said, my
Yes, sir.
brother will come. in between and stay here 1 month and again he will go. It's a it's a contract is closed, right?
Yes,
So they will be joining again after 1 month, and if they join again, they will be paid for that month. It's the previous month where they are at home. So the children
yes,
who were born to Indian migrants over there would not qualify for a residency or citizenship.
yes,
There
sir.
is another thing also. If the child is born in Gulf countries, what will happen? If the child is born in US, what will happen? You will get a citizenship for the child.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, according to uh, the Citizenship Act in US. But now
Yes,
Trump
sir.
is taking a lot of control over that also.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when he became the president, he has done a lot of issues or amendment in those sides. That is separate. But that is US scenario. But when you
Yes,
come to
sir.
Gulf countries, if the child is born there, it's not taken. They will not provide a citizenship for the child.
Okay.
Okay. So the
Yes, sir.
following, it's a clear picture about the Indian migrants in the UAE in particular and other Gulf states in general. Right? So this is
Yes,
the
sir.
situation that is prevailing. Right?
So,
So
yes, sir. I guess that is why a trend of double migration is seen in the people who first migrate to Gulf countries and then double migrate to either UK, US, or Canada or
okay.
Australia.
Okay. So are you questioning me or just
Yes.
adding?
No, no, sir. I was just adding.
No, what you are trying to say?
Sir, I was saying ki, just because of this citizenship issue, that is why I guess there is a trend that people double migrate first to Gulf countries, then work there, and then double migrate to US, UK, or Canada or Australia.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. But the salary wise, the work culture wise, Gulf I will get some of my plans. But the citizenship is an issue over there.
Yes, sir.
That's so that, as you have said, so that they move from other countries to from there and
Yes, sir.
migrate from there by getting the experience over there. But
Yes, sir.
what is an issue when you are in a kind of a teach? Uh,
Uh,
in other countries, it is easy because you need not write go for IELTS or something like that, the TOEFL exams and something.
yes,
But
sir.
when you're going for UK or the thing, the screening is very high, very
Yes,
high.
sir.
Okay, because they are. If you want to go to Canada, that is a PR visa. The procedure is high, but Gulf
Yes,
countries
sir.
the procedure is comparatively low
Yes, sir.
when compared to. So that they go first there, and from there they will migrate probably.
Yes, sir.
Probably. Okay. So the immigration and visa policy in Canada, a lot of people are there. Okay. So they have a separate policy. Canada has been a popular destination country for the immigrants among the industrially developed countries for half a century because of its open or immigrant friendly policies. They have good policies, not like US right now.
Yes, sir.
Canada is full of Canada population is full of migration. In addition, Canada admitted 8 lakhs temporary workers and international students, right? So it
Yes, sir.
admits 8 lakhs, admitted 8 lakh temporary and international students. Is used in Canada, right? So Canada economic immigration has two important types, such as federal high skilled workers program, and it's an expensive and comprehensive process which has to be point system which by the largest share of economic immigrants are admitted. They will give a kind of scoring and everything, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
you have a biometric screening and language testing, so on, as I have said, IELTS or something like that. So the
Yes, sir.
second program is a provincial nominee program, as well as similar. You go to particular province, we say Himachal Pradesh and all those things, but they called as a province. So in the
Yes,
province,
sir.
they have some kind of uh, you can apply to a particular province instead of Canada as a country,
Yes, sir.
particular province, and you can choose that and you can work. So the federal government has to approve it. That means when you say federal government, so for example, imagine that I want to work in India. So I can directly apply to Indian government or to Himachal government. Okay, because my college is there in Himachal. Then I apply to
Yes, sir.
Himachal government. So Himachal government go consider as a federal government for me. So the federal
Yes, sir.
government will approve my visa and everything. So it's a two-way we can apply to Canadian.
Canada. Yes, sir.
So, Canada visa. And
Yes, sir.
it is very easy. We need not to have a middleman to apply for Canada or anywhere. You go directly and you find a website and you apply directly to them and they will respond immediately and give the scoring and grade. If you go,
Yes,
the
sir.
middleman is not at all required in country like Canada and US. We will mostly be cheated sometimes, right?
Yes, sir.
So and they will give a permanent residence if you have applied to sponsor their relatives who must also apply for permanent residence. So if you have a relatives there, you can have a permanent residency and go about. So this is what all
Yes, sir.
about the Canada government application and the scenario that is in Canada. So
Yes, sir.
so this is a situation countries to countries, the immigration process and everything changes based on the laws, rules and regulations, government situations there, and all these things, right? Now
Yes,
you
sir.
see the immigration policy or visa policy in US, it's totally different, right? You see people are chased like kind of they were put a cop and everything. Few months back
Yes,
in the
sir.
US, those are found illegal immigrants. Even Indians were chained and sent back in their flight, army flight, and with a cop. It's
Yes, sir.
horrible and it's very bad scenario when you look people coming back like that. So the immigration policy changes uh, when the ruler is changing and
Yes, sir.
the situation is based on the government policies, right? Whatever Indian government can intervene, but based on the country's policy and rules and regulations, the diaspora community is enjoying or facing problems. That's what
Yes.
we need to understand here, and a little bit of history. And okay, so you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so I really appreciate for being very active in the class, answering, even though you are only student here, you're answering and more participative. Thank you very much for it and contributing your ideas and your whatever you have read. It is putting a lot of interaction in the class. Thank you very much.
Yes,
This
sir.
topic.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Namya. You can leave.
Okay.
Okay. If you have any question, you can ask me.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy weekend. Yes, sir. I have done.